Okay, hi everyone. My name is Patricia. I'm the marketing manager of the Yoga Loft here in Cabarete in the beautiful Dominican Republic, and I have the pleasure to have a little conversation, a little interview with our resident yoga teacher Moraima. Welcome, Moraima.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Oh, that's a deeper question. But I was born originally in the Dominican Republic, and I moved when I was around 8 years old to New York. I was raised and I grew up in New York, and I've been back to the homeland for about 8 months now. I teach yoga, and then I do some freelance work. And yeah, I think that's it.
That's it. Perfect. So, how did it feel for you as a woman of color to return to your home country?
I didn't think much about the woman of color part when I returned. I just thought, I'm coming back home. Maybe I wouldn't have some of the same experiences that I do have in New York or living in the United States, because here race operates differently. So I didn't think about it much. But I try to be a person that's aware about colorism and the history of colonialism and even American imperialism in the country. So I would say that you kind of have to be willfully ignorant of the way that color works here, because it's evident. Even though I am a woman of color, I am light skinned. So there are certain privileges that come to me, especially coming from New York, educated, highly independent. There are certain clashes that happen in the culture, but overall has been smooth, and I just feel at home.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
And what kind of clashes did you have? Can you think of one example?
Very small cultural shifts. I've talked about it recently as well. It can be as simple as the lifestyle change. I'm coming from a big city where things move at a fast pace. So the first few weeks I had to adapt completely and just kind of slow down, which has been really good for my health. But sometimes, I would find myself getting irritated at the pace of things, which is it's a ridiculous thing to complain about. So I've slowed down. But overall, I think culturally, there are a few things that need work here, and I am aware that I'm saying that from a privileged place. So I try to just take it as it comes, I guess. And then whenever I approach something or I try to put my input on something, I try to be aware of where I'm coming from, and so that I'm not disrespectful to the culture that I belong to. But I have to admit that I'm in both worlds, so I want to tread carefully when it comes to that.
Do you have a practical example? The last situation where you were like, okay, this is now from a Western privileged world I'm talking.
Yeah.
Not adapted to Caribbean island lifestyle.
I think it might have been the food, the biggest one that I've experienced, and is that I try to eat so healthy, or and you'll see it here, like in the hotel. We have the giant star fruit tree, and I've gone around telling all of the workers here, like, hey, these fruits are going bad. This is how you can use it. And I think it's in a way it's really sad, because this is a fruit that grows here easily, that could be everywhere in the island, but unfortunately some of the locals don't know how to use these tropical fruits. They maybe have learned to just dismiss it, and maybe just buy whatever comes pre-packaged from the supermarket.
Okay.
But so I understand, okay, I'm coming from a place where I have access to information, that I can look up what star fruit is like, the benefits of it, and that even if it's native to here, the culture hasn't always used it in a way that's beneficial to it.
Yeah.
So when I went around telling everyone, okay, this is how you can make juice with it, I try to do it in a way that wasn't attacking them. Like you're not taking advantage of this, you know. But more like, hey, this is available. The fruits are gonna go bad, so this is how you can use it.
Yeah. Same with moringa a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of fruits. I mean, when I was here younger, I remember having a lot of. My uncles would have a lot of cherry trees, cerezas, and apparently they've been affected by climate change in that when the weather warms up, I don't know how correct this is, but when the weather warms up to an extent, it's hard to grow those trees because they need a certain, I guess, certain environment. And we grew up with toronja, which is grapefruit. I have not seen a toronja tree in the months that I've been here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here on the north coast, it's anyway a little bit different from the weather-wise. I think more in the south and in the mountains where it's a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have definitely more variety.
But even when I've gone back home, there are certain things that there's like a disconnect, which I think is a little bit sad, given that the island is really open and you can take advantage of all the things that grow here because it's really fertile.
Yeah.
And I think there's been a disconnect.
Yeah, yeah. So coming back to you coming back, from the U.S., from New York to Cabarete, can you remember what you were excited about before coming here?
I was excited about the sun.
Yeah, sorry for the microphone.
Yeah. I was excited about the sun.
Yeah.
That was what I was looking for. I think the first day here, I took a shower and I went right to the beach.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to slowing down.
Okay.
I didn't realize to what extent, right? But I wanted to just take it easy for a bit, relax, and work on things that I care about.
Okay. And what was driving you to return? I mean, we've been talking about the slowing down part, but you could have done that as well on another island.
Well, because I left when I was so young and, you know, I didn't have a choice. My parents did it because it was what was best for our family at the time. But I've always wanted to come back and reconnect. I've always felt like a pull to spend some time here, to go around the country, to like really live what it's like to be Dominican in the DR.
And I wanted to ask you something and now I forgot it. Maybe it will come back later.
Yeah.
So was it easy for you to connect with the local Dominican community?
In a lot of ways, yes, because I speak Spanish and I speak the Dominican dialect, I guess. But in some ways, there are some things about me that does stand out as, you know, American. I don't know how, but some people can tell right away that I'm not maybe fully Dominican, that there's something about me that's foreign, just from looking at me. And then others that don't at all, that they completely think that I'm Dominican. But I have been told that I speak Spanish too pretty. So it's like, okay. But otherwise, no, I've right away. I think if you make even just a slight effort, Dominicans are so welcoming, it's kind of hard for you. You have to be like right out disrespectful, you know?
Yeah, and ignorant. Yeah. So after 9 months of being here, where do you feel like home? In the US or here in the DR?
I mean, I don't want to be cheesy, but I think home is wherever I am.
Okay.
Like, I don't think of home as one spot. But I do think that I'm split in half in a lot of ways. You know, the immigrant children will say this often, you know, they got one foot there, one foot here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about me that are both.
And but you said previously when we were talking that you would love to stay here and live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the long term.
Yeah, ultimately I would love to find a way to make it sustainable to live here long term. It might not be now, it might take a year or 2 years, I don't know, whatever it is. I'm also not going to pressure myself too much, but I know in the long run I do want to live here. I mean, I grew up in New York City, I kind of did that already. I know what that city life is, and yeah.
Now I remember what I wanted to ask you before. Although you were living in New York, you still have family here, like uncles and so on, and you were visiting them quite regularly, right?
Yeah. Well, my family is massive. So, I mean, how can I put it into context? Like, my grandmother from my dad's side had 12 kids. And my mom's side, my great grandmother had 13 kids. So I have, still when I go back home to Bonao where my family's at, sometimes I meet cousins that know of me that I've never met before, or maybe I met when I was really young. So my family is massive. I do go back sometimes because my dad has a place back home, and then sometimes it's just good to take a break. Now the topography is very different. Like once you go south, than from the north coast. You know, I grew up instead of beaches with a lot of rivers and tropical rainforests. So it's a different environment. A lot hotter in the summer than the breeze of Kite Beach.
Is it?
Yeah, because of the rainforest. It's just so humid and it gets trapped. It does rain more, I would say. Like it rains on and off during the day, so it'll rain and then it'll clear up.
Yeah.
But there isn't as much breeze as it is here.
Yeah, okay, I see. So, Cabarete is very international, but apart from that, how do you feel in the DR where being black is the norm? Can you take care of the microphone?
Sorry, I forget. I'm getting comfortable.
I know it's a very white privileged question.
Yeah. I think in the U.S. where I come from, race is thought of as very strictly black and white. So when I got here, I sort of shifted into colorism, which is what affects the island more. And then colorism is the preference towards anything that's closer to white. And since this country is, vastly black, it presents itself in ways that's a little bit more sinister, and also it can be pretty primitive. Basic things like somebody telling you if you walk down the street with your curly hair, which doesn't happen in Cabarete, but you can see it in other cities of the country, to like comb your hair. You know,
a Dominican says that too.
Yeah. So it's a little easier because I know that whatever I'm battling when it comes to race or colorism, I know that is ultimately gonna help more people. It seems like something even more valuable. Am I making sense?
No.
Okay. Like if I have to have a teaching moment where I educate someone on like, hey, what you're saying, you've been taught this way, but it's actually hurtful. It feels more valuable because I know that it will affect a lot more people because the population here is largely underrepresented. That makes sense? Whereas in New York, if I have to teach, another white person why trying to grab someone's hair without their permission is inappropriate, it feels like I'm in a black hole, like never ending.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah. While here it's just lack of education.
Exactly.
And
lack of resources.
Access to resources. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, all of this sounds really dense and stuff, but I would say overall life here is pretty light,
It is.
You don't have to be in that world 24/7, and it can feel that way, like all consuming when you're in a country where you're the minority. Yeah.
The perceived minority, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, where people keep you down.
Keep you oppressed.
Yeah. So another very white question: what can white privileged yogis, because you're our yoga teacher, do to nurture and enable a diverse, inclusive community where our brothers and sisters of color feel safe and heard?
Yeah.
It's a big question.
Yes. There's a lot of layers. I think I've recommended to you the Yoga is Dead podcast. they're
Yeah.
going to give you, and I recommend it to everyone, they're going to give you a much better breakdown of what yogis can do, of what a studio owner can do. But I think I can bring it back to Cabarete. I've noticed that there are a lot of yoga teachers here. Cabarete is really interesting in that it's so international. There's a lot of expat communities of visitors that come back and forth. So it has a range of people. So, when I go to Santo Domingo, I know of maybe 3 to 5 yoga studios. And here, there might be the same amount plus like 15, 20 other yoga teachers currently living, offering classes here and there. I have not noticed, or maybe I'm ignorant of it, any active teachers trying to actually reach out to the local Dominican community. And I understand that there are some challenges, especially if you don't speak the language and all that. But I want to encourage everyone to be careful when because in a way it can seem like you're taking advantage of this ideal place that you can attract yoga students, because who doesn't want to practice yoga here, right?
Yeah.
But you're just taking advantage of the location, and you're not really spreading yoga the way you should be doing to the local community.
Yeah. And also, this would imply to go there, right?
To get out of your comfort zone. Like, it's not going to be easy in a country that has a lot of misconceptions around yoga, that's coming from a deeply Christian and religious background, that there's a lot of ignorance or lack of understanding to what it actually is. It's not going to be easy, but and this is something that I want to work on myself, so I'm not like cleaning my hands off of it. But I think if you're going to call yourself a yoga teacher in a developing country, like, who are you actually teaching yoga to? So that will be it.
Yeah. Cool. Is there anything else you would like to add to our conversation right now about the last 8 months? How is it now when you compare it when you arrived here and 8 months later?
I think there's a reason why so many people want to either come back regularly or want to live here. Everything in your life improves. My health has improved, the way that I eat, from eating locally, because things aren't imported as much, to like having vitamin D every day. So I think this is a great place for anyone to kind of reset and come back to. And I'm really grateful that I found a place that I know that values some of the same things that I do, both at the Yoga Loft and at the Extreme Collective, that I don't have, there's certain things that I don't have to explain or like battle with. So that has been really refreshing. And I've enjoyed every single student that has come through the Yoga Loft. They have taught me a lot. I hope that I have taught them, whether it's visitors or some of the local or expats that come through. I'm really glad to have been here.
I have one more question now that we're talking about yoga. You come in New York. You were teaching at the studio with kind of a regular client base, and here with us, there are for sure a few expats that come to a regular class, but else people disappear after 1 or 2 weeks, right? How was that?
The major change would be the size of the classes. I was used to a minimum maybe 15 to 20 students in the class. And I remember if I had a private in New York, I would be super excited, like, yes, I can do one-on-one. But here is the complete opposite. Classes are very small. Rarely do you have a really large room. So it has pushed me to be more personal with the students, to make sure that when I get someone new in the mat, I need to know where they're coming from physically, mentally, so that I can actually tailor the class to them. Because I know that I'm only going to get them for a week or maybe just a weekend. And I want to make sure that it's worthwhile for them. Asking them, like, is there anything that you want to work on? Any parts of your body? Any meditation practices that you're interested in, and all that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's more specific
Yeah.
as a yoga teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm through with my questions. Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot, Moraima. Yeah, if you want to add something, feel free. Else, thanks so much.
Thank you. No, I think that's it.
Yeah?
I'm not used to talking this much, so
You did great.